So I am recording because we are at an equal point here on Matic, Polygon, equal highs going up into this 4-hour fair value gap that has already been filled multiple times. The bearish order block did not seem to have had, especially on the 15-minute, maybe on the 4-hour, it may have had some kind of effect. It doesn't really seem like it did there either. See if it did on the 1 hour. Look at it on the 1 hour. Okay, so the 1 hour comes up. Here is your last up candle going into your down candle. All right, well, yeah, it looks like we have an up candle. It says action block here. We haven't gotten to those yet, but still comes up into it, pulls back, up again, pulls back, up again, up into this area, to this order block area, pulls back. Now we're pulling back up. So this has been a big bullish move. Got higher than the previous high, right? So this would be an area, or might be an area where you would sell, right? Now let's see what's going to happen once it gets up into here. I have a feeling it's definitely, it could possibly, it may not. It looks like it could get halfway into a little bit more into this block. If we want to do the full order block, so it'd be from here to here, or here to here. Like it's pushing up into that. I think it's going to get to a horizontal line across here. That's going to be our last up candle in a 15-minute time frame. Let's go with the 5-minute to see where that one's at really quick. That one is right here. All right. I just want to see where it goes because it's eventually going to get rejected. And I want to wait to see if it's going to be an order block or if it's going to try to take the liquidity. So I'm going to remove this and this. And then I'm also going to put this on top of here. Order block 1, 15-minute. Also, this is an hour order block from the fall from way back here. I want to see if there's a 15-minute order block above any of these. There is, but it's pretty much been taken. That one came up, okay, rebalanced. This would be the only one. And even then it came up close enough to where it's almost balanced. And now, if we go to the hour, I want to look at that same area. Block. Okay, so the hour order block would be at the top of the fair value gap. It looks like it's already gotten rejected, but possibility it could come back up. There's the body. So I'm going to get rid of that. Let's get into the 15-minute. Not 1 hour. It's going to be this guy here. And then 5-minute. Like the hour, well, yeah, these will all be considered the same order block almost, except for these last two. So I put one right here, one right here. I think this would be more likely the one to be looking at on the 5-minute. So what I'm going to do is just make that one a little bit thicker. That's all. And then what we have, liquidity point. So I'm going to change this color here because it's going to be liquidity point. Well, should have all been caps, but oh well. 30.1. 30.2. So now I have plenty of places to see what could possibly. I mean, it looks like it's already been rejected. And I want to see where it's going to fall back to, and then try to push back up again, because this is very bullish to the point that it looks like it will get rejected. It'll fall back to a specific area, and then move back up again. See here, two equal highs. Next time runs it, pulls back, runs it again. So it'll be something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so got up to almost the second. Which would make sense. Okay. Falls back down. Back into this fair value gap. Also, it created a new fair value gap, which is what we need to focus on. Not this old one. The old one has been filled. Now it creates a new one. Let's see if it, how far back it got into it. Almost halfway. Let's see if it's going to try to push farther back into it and try to close it up. Now we're on 5 minutes, and all these are all 5-minute candles. None of this one is the only one. It looks like it reached up higher than the previous candle. Usually, what we would see in that instance then is that moving up through here, this wick almost wouldn't exist. And we might actually see it fall back down to this area here. Because then if this wick didn't exist, well, no, this wick came down to here. It hit the body of the candle. So therefore, even if it didn't exist, it's still balanced. So this may all be balanced here. But this isn't. So, and I'm on 5-minute time frame, guys. 5-minute time frame. So I should be probably on a 15-minute, more than likely. If it's going to do anything, it's probably going to do something on a 15-minute time frame. And down here, I'm not going to worry about the fair value gaps down here. Why? Primarily because it's already kind of balanced. I don't think it would make its way back. I mean, it could. Easily could. So I'm not going to rule that out. So if it does, here we go. We could also make it green. Well, yeah. Green line. I'll make it gold. Let's make the order blocks gold today. See how this. Now here we could do a lesson on breakers, right? So remember how we have a low, high, low situation I talk about? Oh, let's just say it's all the way. Oops. Either of these lows will work because it's lower than this original low. So if there's a A, B, C thing I can do, I don't know why it turned it into D, but whatever. A, B, C. Low, high, lower, low. I don't know. Not a harmonic, okay? I'm just trying to show you an A, B, C situation. Ready? Yeah. So low, high, lower, low. The top of this creates what is called an breaker. It's called a breaker. Yeah, it's on a 15-minute. So it comes back once it touches that high. trend line across, comes back down to that high area. All right, touches it. As soon as it touches it, boom, it takes off. That tells me we have some bullish action going on. Okay, because the breaker, in all honesty, it would be the last up candle. So it should come down and touch the last up candle. So that means this was working probably off a 5-minute. Well, no, not even a 5-minute. Generally, you would highlight the last up candle. Oops. Yeah. See, it was the 1 minute. 1 minute does have that candle right there, all the way across. That was green. So wow, that was going off the 1 minute. So if it's going off the 1 minute as a breaker block, and I'm also going to put the time frame that we found it. If it's a 1 minute and it came back and touched it just the top of it, that is very bullish. If we're having to get down to the 1 minute to find the last up candle and it touches it barely as it comes back and then takes off, that is bullish to the bone. All right, let's get back into the 15-minute and let's see where this thing is at now. Okay, it has filled the 5-minute void, 5-minute fair value gap. I have a feeling it's probably going to come back down. Oh, not that. Didn't mean to do that. Not that far. Let me look over here and see. Because you got to think, anytime I'm looking at a chart, you got to think, I'm always thinking about the market maker buy or sell model. Remember that? If you don't remember that, I will pull it up for you. Perfect. Trying to see which picture I can pull up. Yeah, God, you have so many indicators on here. I can't even see it. This is horrible. Never mind. This is the typical one. All right, so you start at one area, and you end up at another, right? Because you're taking out the high of this before moving on and doing something else with the chart. So I'm always thinking of this type of action to where one area is going to be kind of like boxed in versus another area. And if it's taking off like that, like Matic is right now, well, what is it? What is the market maker buy sell model currently? Where has it been? And as you can see, we start putting boxes around certain things. You can definitely see this is one. And let me remove this triangle because that's getting annoying. And let me get rid of this low, high, low because I think you understood that. I guess you could say that would be one. And we're looking at this at a 15-minute perspective too. We're not even looking at this at a 4-hour or 1 hour night. So this is just one perspective to be looking at it from. So that it runs, right? So this area here, another area there. So there's quite a few different areas. So I'm trying to see if we want to box in another area. This would probably definitely be one. Or we could even go a little bit further down. This comes up and touches this one. Because that's kind of the point. It seems like almost every little area will touch another area. This one comes up, comes down, touches this one, creates a new one, moves on up. So then now we're looking at another area for it to kind of fill, hesitate, consolidate, that kind of thing. But this running up like this, well, what that tells me is that we've already, it looks like all the areas over here may have been taken, quote unquote, So if that's the point, we may be looking at it trying to get above here, looking to try to get to some of these liquidity areas, pulling back, and then staying on top and then creating a whole nother market maker buy sell model in this area. So, and that's pretty much smart money in a nutshell. That's what it is in a nutshell. You're thinking about market maker buy sell models throughout trying that's the whole end goal, right? Is to think about where this is going to next, how it's going to get there, and why is it going to get to that area. Well, and you got to think about the fair value gaps that are in the way or that it has to get through. And these both, well, this one fair value gap got through one time, second time got touched. So it looks like it needs, and let's see if it's probably, it may have been through another time. Yep, another time. So 1, 2, 3. We've had 3 times these fair value gaps have been to. It looks like already came up and also hit these, remember these bearish order blocks that I marked out? Looks like it hit 1 and also hit 2 here. So these could be ruled out. Your next one might be starting on top of this one. But it could also fall back into this kind of area here. Fill this first. And then seeing the liquidity right here, knowing that looking at this could be considered, quote unquote, resistance, then it would stop and it would run it up into that area. So that's one thing we could see, or we could see two. Basically, there's 2 scenarios that we could be looking at. One, and it looks like this it could be doing it, pulling back into this area here, kind of filling it, and pulling back even further maybe, just because of this guy right here, this bearish bearish candle that would be considered an order block in this scenario. I mean, and if it does do this, you could also consider it possibly to be falling back even back down to here, and then possibly making another small little area. If it does that, then I would expect another zoom up and then pass there here, and then start filling this area from here. Right? So that's one possibility. Or second possibility, instead of falling back down into here, it just fills this area here and then comes up into this area here. Right? And then third possibility, I know I said 2 at first, but we could be looking at 3. It coming back into this one, just barely even touching maybe halfway through, and then running this again all the way up into here, probably getting rejected first, at that one of the green lines there, pulling back, running back up, and then seeing it do something like this. These are 3 types of scenarios that we could see. Again, the reason I drew this down here, again, order block down in here. But it could get rejected from that order block. Maybe actually move up and make an area like right in here. Generally, the areas that it does fill, they're not going to be parallel. They're not going to be the same height, same size, anything like that. But they are going to have some kind of relationship with a box that is near them, basically. So whenever you're thinking of the end game, the end goal of where a chart is going to go, this should be in your head, because this is how charts always play out. They always play out in some kind of market maker buy sell model scenario, meaning that the market makers right here, right, even though they sold off and they did off all this, the whole point was to get it up here just to make this much of a difference and more money. Even though they pulled it back down here and did all this whole pulling back was to get as many people to sell off as possible. That way they could buy at a better price and then pull it up ahead and above where the high was previously. That's the whole point of a market maker buy sell model. Generally, that's why you get the golden ratio of 162, because that's generally where it goes. It has nothing in it's weird. I mean, it does have to do with Fibonacci, of course, but it also just has to do with, because let me see, if I was to do a fib, right, and it's already pulled up above this high, so then it comes back, hits this low. Next high would be here. What does it pull back to? Almost that 88.6%. It's a very, very good number that market makers love to buy at because it's a very good discount. Also breaks liquidity down here, right? Which means people would could possibly see that little spike right there as support. And then it goes through it just a little bit, but just enough. Push it on up. Now let me see where we're at right now. Let me see. I know I kind of did that to see where we would be at in that one. This would be double 62. So here's your magic 162 ratio, and we got there. We got there from this dealing range right here, right? Boom, it pulled up, got past the 162. Hasn't got to double yet. Now double is going to be just above the previous, almost exactly just above the previous high. So that's the kind of confluence that you want to look for, because that right there tells me, yeah, it's going to be heading toward trying to at least get, 2x where it was in this dealing range right here, right? And you could even do it. You could even try it out on this guy right here. Interestingly enough, it did not even, well, I mean, it pulled back into the 50%. It didn't get down to the 60 to 62, 61.8. But then again, that's if you're doing the wicks. If we're doing the bodies, still kind of same scenario. Pulls back into 50%. It's still discount zone, but it also hits what? Looks like it hits a breaker, which would be your last up red candle or up green candle, which is this one right here. But we're in a 15-minute scenario. In a 5-minute scenario, it might be lower, because look, you have a low, high. Eventually gets to a lower low. It doesn't always have to be the exact lower low, but we have a low, high, goes to a lower low. So your last up candle right here, that's your breaker block. Pull that one all the way across. Does it come down into it and touch it? Yes. Boom, right there. And then it takes off. Comes up, touches it. And then where does it move up to from there? Boom, your golden ratio, 162, exactly. And then once it does that, and you see it starts to pull back, you move your fib again. Pulls back to that 88.6, almost dead on to it. And pulls on up. This one goes over the 162, so that's where you should be aiming for. Pulling back into this 15-minute fair value gap, just barely into it. So now it looks like it could possibly, now since it did have an imbalance in here, could possibly be filling this. Because if we look this way, look at this. All of this right here would be considered. So if we extend this, so this area has already been taken basically by market maker buy or sell model. So do you think it's going to come down in here and fill this area again? No. So if it was to drop, it would probably take a pretty nasty drop down into this area, I would think. Then again, I don't think it really would because you have kind of an area that it's already wouldn't be parallel to it, but there's been an area to where that all those prices have already been kind of filled, taken, whatnot. So instead, now we're seeing it pull back. We see it hit this 15-minute fair value gap, and now I think we're going to see it move up into kind of an area up here. Anyways, that's all I'm going to do for now for this little technical lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you are learning something from me. If you are, what I'd like you to do, since I didn't do an intro or anything like that, I just went straight into it. What I'd like you to do is wait for it. You got to wait for it. There it is. Just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. That would be awesome. And I will see you guys next time. And remember,